All right, guys, so we are back, and I want to talk a little bit about Jaron Ennis and Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, first of all, let me congratulate Jaron Ennis on signing a multi-fight deal with Matchroom Boxing. A lot of people were under the impression that he was actually signed to the PBC, which he wasn't. I think he was signed to Showtime, but we've all seen that Jaron Ennis has been having trouble getting fights. I think the last fight he had was with Roman Villa, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it may have been about a year ago. I'm not too sure on that. I have to check into that, but I think it's been quite some time. Now, upon signing with Matchroom Boxing, he calls out Terrence Bud Crawford, and he calls out Errol Spence Jr. He basically says he'll fight both of those guys either at 147 or 154. Now, I want to talk more about the Terrence Bud Crawford thing because I have given my opinion on that in the past, why I didn't really think that was a good thing for either one of those guys. And for those of you who didn't know, let me recap why I thought that wasn't a good fight. Number one, I thought that Jaron Ennis was not ready for a guy on the level of a Terrence Bud Crawford. We all know Jaron Ennis has never really been tested yet. I think the biggest name he's been in the ring with is Sergey Lipinets, who was a champion at 140. And he's never been in the ring with the likes of guys like Ugas or one-time Keith Thurman, and kind of just throw him in the ring with a guy like Terrence Bud Crawford, who's seen as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. I think it'll derail his career really before it really gets started. So I just didn't want to see the kid get spanked. That was one of the reasons. Number two, I didn't like the energy coming from some of the Errol Spence Jr. fans after Crawford mollywopped Spence. They jumped off the Errol bandwagon, and they put all their chips in the Jaron Ennis bucket in hopes of he would be able to defeat Crawford and get revenge for them. I didn't like that, so that's another reason why I didn't want to see that fight. And I think the biggest reason I really didn't want to see that fight was because I thought Crawford had bigger fish to fry. The mission was to become undisputed in a third weight class. You had the Canelo Alvarez equation at 168, fighting Canelo for undisputed. Of course, you had the Jermell Charlo thing before he got stripped. And then you have the equation with Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora. You guys know what happened with that. The PBC tried to pull some shenanigans. They put Errol Spence Jr. in the ring after Sebastian Fundora defeated Tim Tszyu for his WBO title and the vacant WBC title, and they tried to jump the line. Errol tried to jump the line, even though they knew Crawford activated his WBO mandatory super champ status. So I didn't like that. So it seems like every time Crawford tries to put himself in a certain position, there's always something trying to block him out. So I just don't like the politics of boxing. Now, I heard Jaron say that Crawford really doesn't have anywhere to turn but, face him basically. And I have to differ with that because there is, some other options there. There's the IBF route and the WBA route. I think the IBF is held by Murtazelev, and the WBA is held by Madrimov. Now, the only problem with that is that those two guys are lesser known than even Jaron Ennis. So I think the Jaron Ennis fight would do better than these guys. So this is where I'm kind of, pivoting a little bit from what I originally wanted for Crawford. I think I would entertain that Boots fight. I wouldn't have a problem entertaining that fight if get this guys, if Sebastian Fundora decides to drop that WBO belt, and that belt can be on the line, Jaron Ennis and Terrence Bud Crawford for the WBO 154-pound title. I wouldn't have a problem with that fight. I still think Crawford mollywhops Jaron Ennis, but I think Crawford should get something out of this. I know the money is important, but I think completing his mission is important as well. And if that is not on the line, then I would prefer him go the other route. capture the IBF, capture the WBA, put himself in a position where he can't be denied by the PBC and they have to sit down and negotiate with him. He'll have some bargaining power when he goes to the table to try to become undisputed at 154 pounds. So I disagree with Boots. He does have options, but I would entertain that fight if a title was on the line. Now, Eddie Hearn says he can make that fight happen. We know Eddie Hearn, he has a good relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh. I'm sure they could put some big money behind it. And, a lot of people will get what they want. But I'm going to tell you guys, this could be it for Jaron Boots Ennis. If he gets destroyed by Crawford, I think it would just mess up his brand. We seen what happened on Errol Spence Jr. His hardcore, fans like that, they jumped off the bandwagon. Now they're on the Boots bandwagon. Anybody to beat Crawford, anybody who they think can beat Crawford, that's what they're going to do. And we'll see what happens, guys. But, I will entertain this fight now because the way the options are, Canelo not wanting any smoke, all the belts being scattered at 154. And, it's just a big old mess. And, I want to see Crawford succeed. I want to see him succeed because he's a rare breed and he's willing to go that extra mile. But like I said, he does have options. But I still think, at this time, I think that the biggest fight for him outside of the, Canelo Alvarez fight, of course, and the winner of Sebastian Fundora, Tim Tszyu in the rematch would be Jaron Boots Ennis because we know Errol Spence Jr. doesn't want any smoke with Crawford again. So you guys let me know how you feel about this one in the comments section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.